Hey, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Reaction Bite Radio with your host, Kevin Postwaite, and your co host.
Julie Price. And if you're enjoying our videos, please hit that subscribe button, share, like, comment, tell all your friends about us.
Yeah, good deal. We are here today with our friend Lawson Blake from the Marshall Super Series tournament series. And Lawson has a long history of fishing here in West Virginia and college fishing at Marshall University, the Marshall University fishing team down there. And there's a lot going on at Marshall. So, Lawson, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to get on here and talk.
All right, yeah. So, Lawson, what have you got going on there at Marshall and the Super Series team trail this year? And then maybe walk us through a little bit about your journey and college fishing, and we'll just see where we go from there.
Yeah, we'll start with the Super Series has been going on for several years now. It established itself as a really good trail in West Virginia to fish. And we do it to, have fun with our anglers. Our main goal is for all of our anglers to have fun, but it also helps support our team. We take a small percentage of the entry fee, and it benefits our team to be able to fish these college tournaments because everybody knows going around and traveling is expensive. It helps put gas in the tanks to get us to where we need to go. Our Super Series is a 5-tournament regular season series with a 6 tournament as a championship. We are a small crew, but we do the best job that we can. We try to keep things simple yet fun. I like to think of it as an old school tournament series. We don't complicate stuff too much, but we try to have an end of the year tournament that's an awesome tournament and a good payback the day of. Plus, last year we were presented the opportunity to register as a Bassmaster Team Trail eligible trail. So for every 25 unique teams that fish our series, we get a spot in the Bassmaster Team Trail Championship, which you guys I'm sure are familiar with the Bass Nation side.
I'm not in any way familiar with the business side of Bass Nation or any of that, but I had no idea that there was any other avenue to anything to do with Bass Nation other than through Bass Nation. So that's fascinating to me.
Yeah, so I wasn't aware of that until a couple of years ago. And when we reached out to Bassmaster, actually, what made me think of it is I was looking through the results and I noticed all of these different trails, and they weren't all Bass Nation of South Carolina, Bass Nation West Virginia, Virginia. I thought it was all state level stuff, but when I realized that you could register for a Bassmaster Team Trail event, I realized that could give our anglers another opportunity to do something bigger than just qualifying for the Marshall Cup. And it would give more anglers the opportunity to do something at a national level. And we still provide the state level stuff just to have fun. So we have a membership fee to fish our tournaments, one time per person. It's $15, and that just covers our check that we had to write to Bassmaster to make our team trail available to our members. So we don't make any money off of it. We just try to give anglers the opportunity to go to a higher level tournament, and eventually they take the winner of that to the Bassmaster Classic. Fisher and I won this year, but they take the top 5 teams and they split them up and they fish against each other bracket style. Well, it's not a bracket, but they take the winner of that second cut to the Bassmaster Classic, which is a pretty awesome opportunity to think that our trail could eventually have one of our winners go to the Bassmaster Classic, which is very, very awesome.
That's been a successful trail. You guys have a lot going on there, a lot of good stuff. What's your schedule this year with the Marshall Super Series?
Our schedule is up on our Facebook page, or you can look at my personal page under Lawson Blake. But our Facebook page is the Marshall University Fishing Team. Our first tournament is March 21st at Summersville, and we're putting it at the marina. All of our tournaments are open tournaments. We try to plan parking around where we have overflow parking, so we leave the extra 25% of the parking lot available to the public. So we are March 21st at Summersville, which is earlier than usual, but from what we understand, they are leaving the lake up high enough to use the marina ramp all year. I've heard that from several reliable sources, and if that would change, we're going to keep up with that, but that's where the first one is. Then April 25th at Stonewall. That should be a really good tournament, really big weights that week of the year, every year at Stonewall. Stonewall is one of West Virginia's premier fisheries. I'm sure that'll be a good one. May 9th at Sutton. That'll be a cool one. That's a little bit different. We're usually there a little earlier in the year than May the 9th, but that'll be a really cool tournament. Maybe a little bit of sight fishing, post-spawn schooling stuff. I'm really looking forward to that one this year. June 13th on the Kanawha River. You guys know the Kanawha River can be really good or really bad, but June 13th should be a pretty good time to fish the river. Then we go to Yatesville, which is a little bit of a wild card. We typically don't go to Yatesville. We usually try to keep it towards central West Virginia, but we wanted to finish up our trail earlier. That way we don't conflict with any tournaments in the fall because it's hard to schedule in the fall. So we're trying to finish up earlier this year, and it also gives our team trail championship qualifiers more time to plan their trip. July 25th at Yatesville. It'll take a big bag to win that tournament. That time of the year, there are some big bags caught. And I'm going to call it now. It's going to take over 20 pounds to win that tournament, without a doubt. That's the 5 tournaments that will take our points from to the team trail championship. Last year we had 3 different teams that qualified. We were a 2.2 boat average short, so 2 more boats that
Oh,
were new
yeah.
per tournament. We would have had a 4th spot to bring. We had 80 or 88 boats fish our tournaments this year. So if we can get to 100, 12 new people, that means we'd have 4 Bassmaster Team Trail Championship spots, which would be really, really cool. And then after that, we take a percentage of each entry fee and put it towards our cup and our Team of the Year payout. And our cup, you qualify by fishing at least 3 tournaments throughout the Super Series throughout the year. There are no points involved with that anymore, but if you fish 3 tournaments, you are eligible to fish our cup at Summersville October 24th and 25th. That's a 2-day tournament. Typically it's 40 boats, but the top 10 are, after the first day, go to Sunday, and everybody gets paid and they fish to see who wins. And we usually have a really good payout. It typically, the way that it works out is we double the pot, because we have our anglers still paying entry fees, so you're fishing for more money. We did it that way, so none of those 10 guys that qualify have just expenses without anything to reimburse them for it. So in theory, everybody gets a free trip to fish at bare minimum. So
Awesome.
that's the way that we structured that. We paid back, I think, $9,000 to that tournament last year. Hopefully it's even more. We're going to try to see if we can get some more sponsors for it, but that's just based on our angler participation and the support from the people that have fished our trail.
Great. And what is the entry fee for the Marshall Super Series tournament?
$125 cash at the ramp.
Okay.
Okay.
And you average.
We average the year before this, we averaged 50 boats. I think it was almost identical to last year, but I think we averaged 45 this year. So a little less than normal, but we're between that 45 to 50 boat. The biggest tournament we ever had
Yeah.
was 74 boats at Sutton a few years ago, which was crazy. It was an
Yeah.
awesome turnout, but typically we average 50, give or take a little bit.
Those are solid numbers for West Virginia if you do the math, and equals some good payouts. So that's great.
Mm-hmm.
And any particular rules that people should know about different than other tournaments or other series?
We try to keep it pretty similar to Bassmaster or MLF rules as far as the majority of things. Your boat has to be within U.S. Coast Guard approval. No John boats, but
Right.
as long as your boat has a live well and it's functional, you can fish with us. But we usually keep it pretty simple. We want the minimum amount of stuff for anglers to worry about and still have a fair tournament. We want to have fun. We don't want anglers to stress out. One of the rules that people really like about our tournaments is we try to blast everybody off at daylight as soon as we get everybody in the water. That way we maximize their fishing time. There is no off limits to practice. People enjoy that. It's just trying to keep it old school. If you want to go up and fish for a day or two before the tournament, you're more than welcome to. We encourage that. It helps benefit the areas that we send them to, like Nitro Visitors Bureau. They helped us out with the tournament last year and sponsored it, and we are grateful for that. But we want people to go and fill up their tanks of gas at the city of Nitro and all these events that we have to support the cities that help us be there.
Yeah, one of the things that you always hear, and definitely I believe, is you support the folks that support you. So if anybody that supports the tournament trails, I encourage everybody to go support those areas and those folks, because they put some money into it, and without that, payouts would be quite a bit lower, and the quality of tournaments put on would be harder to do. So we appreciate those folks as well. Do you all have horsepower restrictions because you're a Bassmaster team eligible? Because I know if someone fished with a 300 throughout the year, they wouldn't be able to use that boat for the Bassmaster Team Championship.
We do not have a horsepower limit in our current tournaments, but they have to adhere to all the rules for that Bassmaster Team Trail Championship. We send them all the rules prior. We have them a whole breakdown, and all those competitors have to be within that rule.
Yeah. Something folks should know is that if they use a boat with a 300 throughout the year, they cannot use that boat in the Bassmaster Series should they make the team championship tournament. Did you go to Hartwell last year then?
I did not go to Hartwell last year.
Okay.
I did not qualify. I had a bad tournament and it messed up my season, but I didn't miss the cold. It would have been tough because I would have gone I fished the Logan Parks Insane tournament down in Alabama. So it would have been really tight schedule between those 2 tournaments. I would have been gone 3 out of 4 weeks. It would have been
Oh,
tough.
wow. I guess the Bass Nation Championship is going to be on Hartwell this year. Love Hartwell. You fished Hartwell through the college series previously?
I have. Yes. It's one of my favorite lakes in the country. Those fish are smart, but it's really, really rewarding when you figure them out.
Yeah, it's a big place. It's easy to get away from even a couple hundred boat field. It's kind of surprising.
Have we ever
Hmm.
fished any of the Marshall stuff?
No, we haven't had a chance to.
It it's so hard, like, and especially since I've been scheduling people on here and, looking up different tournament trails, you get kinda in your little circle of the tournaments you fish, and it's really hard to branch out and try other tournament trails because there's usually 2 or 3 months during tournament season. We're fishing a tournament every weekend. There's not enough of us to fish all the tournaments.
There's not enough me and you to go around.
Yeah, this sounds like a fun tournament. Everybody we've talked to, it sounds like their tournaments trails would be really fun.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, I understand exactly what you mean. And I had this same conversation with somebody a couple days ago. I'm like, I wish there was a few more weekends in that time of the year that we could have tournaments
Right.
because it's just on top of everybody.
Yeah.
And it is really hard to schedule. We usually work with the Nation and the Great Outdoors Trail to try to schedule our stuff the best that we can, but it's just hard to work stuff out, especially with the college schedule thrown in.
I was getting ready to say West Virginia we're lucky as bass anglers because the organizations do work well with each other. They try really hard not to be on top of one another because a lot of people fish all of it, at various places. So some of us that don't, it's either work conflicting or maybe we're fishing out of state some, which is what
Yeah.
we do. So
I don't want
um,
to ignore any of the tournament organizations. It's hard when you're not familiar with them or to keep apprised of everything going on. I think people should know what's out there and know what their options are.
well, and some people can't afford to travel as much.
Yep,
Yeah.
Fishing is not cheap.
absolutely.
Spending the night's not cheap, and dragging your boat across the state's not cheap. So I understand people that are, I don't want to say cherry picking because I don't think that's really what it is, as much as they might fish, a couple tournaments out of each trail so that they don't have to travel as far. And I get
Mhm.
that. That's legit. I understand.
Yeah.
It's not a cheap thing to do.
But then you get into if it's a trail, you have to fish so many
If you want to
in
make the
each
championship.
trail and there's points. So then, even if you would like to go fish this other one, you're kind of committed to the trail you started, or you might lose out on an opportunity.
Right.
So,
Mhm.
Yeah. But the other thing that's good is, more opportunities are better. I believe, what is it, the Great Outdoors, Bass Nation, and now Marshall would have the opportunity to go to the Team Series Championship through Bassmaster, as long as they're paid through Bassmaster, which most people are, I think. So that
Mhm.
would give West Virginia anglers more opportunities. And I know several teams that fish at least 2 out of the 3 series, and some might fish all 3. I don't think any of the schedules actually conflict this year that I know of.
Yeah, there's only a couple overlaps between I think our trail and the Great Outdoors, but most of the stuff is open
Yeah.
as far as the rest of it goes this year.
And that's what makes it nice with your all's top 3 making a championship. So that's great. I love it. So Lawson, you've had the opportunity to fish at the college level at Marshall for how long now?
So I am a super senior, finishing up my last year this year. I have 5 years eligibility. I actually finished up my education in December. I graduated with a master's in business administration. I finished my undergrad last fall. I have a degree in finance and minors in marketing, management, and economics. So I am done. I just passed my Series 7 exam, and I am
Nice.
working towards my Series 66 so I can be a fully licensed financial advisor. But I am in my super senior year. This is my last year that I'll get to fish college tournaments. I'm going to miss it. It has provided a ton of awesome opportunities for us and our other guys to fish some of the coolest bodies of water in the country. I've been everywhere from Lake Okeechobee to Champlain and anywhere in between. It has been an absolute incredible opportunity to fish college ranks.
there would have been college fishing way back when I was in college. I think that would have kept me out of a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Like, I'm being serious. Yeah, because I didn't play typical sports,
Right.
but I liked to fish, and I think I would have been into that. It just wasn't a thing. There wasn't an option.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's relatively new and it's great though. Let's see. Marshall's had a fishing team for how long? Okay.
I believe 9 years is how long our team has been existent, from what I understand. And I wasn't the person to start it. I joined in 2021, and Chase had been there before me, and I believe Chase started it with somebody else. So
Oh, okay.
So if an
Mhm.
old person wanted to go to college full time, can they be on? Not me.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about me. I've thought about it though. Is there an age limit to the college fishing teams?
Nope. And that's funny that you say that because there's somebody on the University of Pikeville's team who's 38, and He's just finishing up, and they're really sad that he's leaving. They call him Unc.
Okay, maybe I'm not
Nice.
joking. I suddenly feel the
Need to go
need
back
to
and
go back to
degree.
college and do something different. I don't know.
That's
I guess it works the same way as NCAA eligibility, because if you start going to college whenever you're 30 years old, you would still have your eligibility in theory. I
Hmm.
yeah,
believe it works the
nice.
same way for fishing. I know several people that are older, and they've gone back to college and they're fishing for their college teams.
So do you have to compete to get on the college team, or is it a show up and you're on the team?
So it depends which college you fish for. If you want to be part of Marshall's team, we're more than welcome to join our team. And if you want to go to events, we'll do our best to help you out and send you. But other teams that are bigger, Montevallo, they have a bunch of teams that don't necessarily get to go to all the tournaments. There's a wait list and certain restrictions on how many teams a college can send. There are certain series that limit you or don't limit you, like Major League Fishing. You can send more than Bassmaster you could. It just depends on the college team that you're at. Some of them have qualification processes because their teams are so big. Like I believe that Lander had one a couple years ago where they had a point system to determine who got to go to events. But it just depends on which college team you're at.
Marshall's the way to go, right? Right now is what I'm
Yeah,
hearing. And I know WVU has a fishing team. You guys have a good rivalry, or how's that work?
I wouldn't call it a rivalry. We do have a good relationship. We do compete with each other, but I wouldn't necessarily call it a rivalry. Although they may think about it differently than we do. But I'm good friends with several of the guys on their team, and there's some good guys up there, and we like to compete, but we don't take it too seriously.
Are there scholarship opportunities for the college fishing?
Yes, there are, but not at Marshall.
Okay.
I was on an academic scholarship, and our team is supported through sponsors like Malone's Marine, Rimlaw and Services, and all of our other sponsor portfolio. They are really who helps us get to tournaments as well as the trail that supports us. We get a certain percent of our entry fee that comes back to us, and that helps us every single tournament. Every single person that has ever fished a Marshall event has helped support the Marshall fishing team and put gas in our tanks to get to each event. It's expensive to go to these events all over the place. I mean,
Oh yeah,
you talk
We
about
know.
driving from West Virginia to Champlain or Florida, 14-hour drives to get to some of these places. I mean, hotels, maintenance on your boat, it can get
yeah.
expensive really fast, but we're very fortunate to have as much help as we do. We are truly blessed.
Well, that's great. Getting to and from is never cheap,
It is never cheap.
and there's always something crazy that happens along the way. You've fished a lot of these tournaments. Which one has been your favorite lake, and then your least favorite?
That's a good question. My least favorite lake is no doubt Okeechobee. Okeechobee is the most overrated fishing lake, except for that 1 to 2 week period out of the year.
You're going to start a riot.
Ask any college angler; they'll tell you the same thing. I mean, if you look at the results from the last college tournament down there this past week, it took like 30 some pounds to win in a 2-day tournament.
Mhm.
It has gone drastically downhill over the past few years, and a lot of it has to do with water level and the way that they're managing that lake. But there's good things happening. The usually happens when there's a cold front down there. Florida bass hate cold fronts.
Yes.
I seriously think that's one of the most overrated tournament venues in the entire world, if not the most overrated.
So, did you launch out of Clewiston or Okeechobee?
We launched out of the Roland Martin Marina.
Okay.
So we were down in Clewiston, and it's a nice ramp. It's a nice facility there. It's kind of hard to find places to stay whenever there's 225 kids down there. So we stayed up on the northern end near Buckethead Ridge. We had a little carport to park our boat under. It was nice, said that we couldn't walk through to Buckethead Ridge. So we're just left sitting there outside our house, and we have all this beautiful looking fishy water, and the lake's just super tough. And we're like, man, it'd be really nice if we could lock
Yeah.
into this and try to fish it a little bit. So that's the most overrated, or my least favorite. My
Okay.
favorite lake to go to is probably Lake Hartwell. It's not my favorite fishing lake. Hartwell has so much stuff around it. There's a fishing community at the lake. The city of Anderson and the whole county just puts so much into that. Their boat launch is incredible. Their tournament staff is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, it's bar none down there. There's always good places to stay. It's a quick trip from West Virginia for the most part. It's not a 2-day trip. It's 6.5 hours,
Mhm.
depending where you're at. It's just a good place to go down and take a weekend. You can stay somewhere nice. You can stay on the lake. You can stay a little bit away from the lake if you want somewhere cheaper. But there's just so many great things at Anderson, South Carolina. Blake Norman is also a really good one. We haven't had a college tournament there in a while, though. But the coolest lake they've ever sent us to was Champlain. But that's just out there.
Yeah, that's a massive body of water.
300,000 acres. I might be wrong.
It's a bunch. Did you guys ever fish Santee Cooper?
There's a college tournament on Santee Cooper this year, April 7th and 8th, I believe. Might get to make it to that one. I think we've got another team going. That's going to take some big weights to win. But sending these college guys out, it kind of scares me. As many stumps are in Santee Cooper, there's going to be it's going to be a busy day for the Mercury service trailer. I can tell you that much.
It will be if they're not careful. We've got a place down there. I fish down there a lot. And if you don't know where you're going, you can really tear some stuff up. And the water levels make a difference too, because where you can go is definitely dependent upon what the water level's like. There's a lot of times you can reach certain places easily, but the water is up a little bit. But if it's down, you're going to find stumps that you didn't know were there. I had an uncle that just tore up a trolling motor down there, hitting a stump.
A lot of
It
things
was
can
not good.
happen. Fishing's fishing.
Yeah, and it can be expensive.
If there's someone that can go wrong, it will go wrong.
It will. We talk boat maintenance a lot with keeping up with stuff, because if you let it go when you get to a big tournament, whenever your problem is going to be there. It's never going to happen when you're at Stonewall or Sutton or next to your house on the Ohio or Kanawha. It's going to happen when you go out of state somewhere. That's when you're going to have a problem. Usually on a Saturday or Sunday when the marina's closed.
Or there's a big tournament in town and they're
Yeah.
irritated because fishermen have come in and demanded that their boat be fixed immediately. They love that.
It's
That'll get you all kinds of good service.
yeah, it's tough. Having the service trailers is really helpful. I guess they do that with the college level pretty well.
Some of them, not all the time, but they do try to make it out when they can.
That's helpful. Some of the Bass Nation stuff, they have it, some they don't. When my lower unit went out, they did not have a trailer there. I had to go find one.
When I talked to you the other day, you said you were getting ready to post some exciting news on social media. Did we go over that?
We went over a little bit of that. Our trail has typically been the top 40 in points that have fished at least tournaments qualify to make the cup, but we're trying to increase participation and help the payout go up a little bit. We limited, you say, hey, if you show up and physically fish 3 of our tournaments, there's no pay for 3 tournaments and don't show up. There is show up to 3 tournaments, you're eligible to fish our cup. And we're increasing our media coverage. We are bringing back the on the water photography at every tournament this year. Garrett's going to be out there with a camera trying to get everybody to smile for a camera. Then we're going to have interviews with our winners. So that'll probably go up on my YouTube channel. We're still figuring out a little bit of the formatting with that. But we're going to do increased media coverage for our events to make our anglers feel special. Our anglers are the heart and soul of our organization. A lot of them are sponsors of the team or supported at every event. So we're trying to give back to our anglers and do the best job that we can and give them the platform to really excel. If we get 100 anglers, it's 4 Bassmaster Team Trail Championship spots. That's a lot of opportunity there too.
Yeah, that's great. I'll extend the invitation. I've done this with every tournament organization that's been on. Anybody that wins or wants to get on as a winner to the podcast, all they got to do is shout out. And we'll make it happen so they can have another opportunity to talk about fishing and their win, because those wins are hard to come by.
Our fields are very competitive. We got a lot of great anglers around here, and they work hard for those wins, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. As the tournament director there, feel free to reach out if you've got folks that you think might be interested in talking about fishing and their results and whatever during the season. That would be great.
Yep, absolutely. And I'll always like to give our anglers the best opportunity to use their platform, so I'd be more than happy to reach out on their behalf.
Great.
We want to give everybody a chance to talk, even if it's just somebody wants to talk about how they got into fishing, or fishermen love to tell their tales.
Yeah. Well, and they're all interesting. Most people,
Yes,
everybody has a
it's
different
fun.
path to get here. Some paths are similar, but no path is exactly the same.
Yep, very true.
Off topic, I saw something you had posted on Facebook that I didn't know. It was about keeping your fishing line in the refrigerator.
So I have a friend, his name's Scott Butler, or Bean Poles. He builds custom fishing rods, and he was helping me build a rod, and I saw he put his line in the refrigerator. And I'm like, why in the world do you keep your line in the refrigerator? And I never actually asked him. We may have mentioned it, but we never actually discussed it. And I'm just sitting there talking to one of my buddies. I'm like, I know somebody that keeps their line in the refrigerator. So I posted on Facebook to see what it was about. Apparently, if it's cold and dark, it helps your line last longer. Somebody told me that you keep it in the refrigerator at now, keep it from freezing because it's so cold outside.
I've always heard keep it dark and in a controlled setting. You don't want it to be out in the sun. That really deteriorates it.
But
You don't want to get too hot or
You
too
have
cold.
about $1 million worth of fishing line out in the garage that when I pick up the box, you say, no, that's old. And it's never been opened.
Well, some of it's old and never been opened, and I'm sure it's garbage.
Does fishing line deteriorate that much?
It does.
It very much can, yes. You don't want to open a bad spool and put it on your rod. That's a reason that I don't use some particular brands, because I've had that happen to me, and it's lost me a lot of money in a weekend before. I still have nightmares of spooling up a fresh spool before before a tournament at Stonewall and breaking off like a 6.5 pounder and then another
Oh,
4 pounder that same day. Oh, it made me so mad. I still think about that on almost a weekly basis. Every time I look at a spool of line with that particular brand on it, I'm just like, ugh, if I hadn't had that tied on.
Mhm.
wow.
Yeah, one of my favorite things to do is to tie on old line and put on your favorite spinner bait or buzz bait. Then first cast, it just goes flying off because the line is broken down inside the reel. Everything is gone.
I remember one time there was line on my pole, and every 2 feet,
Yeah,
it was like there was a nick in it. It broke,
yeah,
and I tied on another jig. When I pulled it to tighten the knot, it broke again. I did it again.
yeah,
Then I was like, "Why does my line keep breaking?" Evan pulled on it, and he was like, "Oh, your line's bad." It
yeah.
was just brittle.
And you can get a bad spool. People
You
don't.
can.
I don't think they realize like you can get a bad spool of line, and if you do, you send it back,
I
and
was gonna say,
they'll strength test it or whatever, and
that's
send you a new
expensive.
spool. It
Yeah.
is. Yeah,
There's some quality control issues from some brands that I'm not
some
going to
brands. Yeah,
trash.
yeah.
I'm a big believer in some brands and a very not big believer in others. And
Agree.
I'm not going to openly trash that brand,
Of
but I
Right,
can
course.
tell you
right.
I am a big believer in Sunline. I really love their sniper line. They also support college fishing, which is another reason that they're a great brand to work with. But they make some really good lines. I feel like there's a different line for every sort of application. I mean, you can use
There
mono
is.
for different baits, but my favorite line is that Sunline sniper and CR Tatsu. But
Yeah,
Tatsu, they're proud of it. It is expensive, but
it
it
is
is some
expensive.
dang good
That's
stuff.
That's
is
Bought a just bought a 1,000 yard spool at Tatsu over there. The first thing I did is I sprayed it with Real Magic, and that stuff is working on your line if you haven't used it
I
before. I mean,
I do. I keep a thing in my boat at all times.
but you
I think
sprayed
it's
it on the whole spool?
Yeah, you can spread it on the
it'll
whole
make it
spool.
last longer that way.
Yeah,
That stuff's actually like WD-40,
yeah. It is. It's like WD-40.
but I don't like the aerosol cans. I like the pump spray bottle.
It's good stuff. Yeah, you don't get all that. I don't know what it is with the aerosol.
Just trust the pump more.
Yeah.
While we're talking favorite lines, everybody that comes on the show has to answer this question. If you had to pick one bait, one color to fish with for the rest of your life, it is the only thing you're allowed to fish with. What would you pick?
Well, do you want me to say the thing that most people my age would say, or do you want me to say what I would actually choose? Because most people my age would say a jig head minnow, but a 5-inch green pumpkin Senko is the greatest bait ever created, as far as I'm concerned. I've weighed in more fish on a Senko.
Everybody up until you has said a completely different kind. You're the
Yeah.
second Cinco person, but a different color.
Yeah,
I'm keeping a chart.
a very close second would be like a depth Sakamata shad 5-inch, but those are nearly impossible to get your hands on right now. They're super expensive if you find them. That's a very close second. I love the scope. Don't get me wrong, but that 5-inch Senko, you can't beat it. It is such a good all-around bait
Anywhere you go, you can catch fish on a Senko.
anywhere. And you can do so many different things with it. I love to fish it wacky style. You can Texas rig it. You can flip with it. You can fish it weightless. All kinds of different applications.
Agreed. Best slur ever.
I will spill a little bit of wisdom here. The Berkeley Max Scent General, it has given the Senko a run for its money. I'm a big believer in the Max Scent material, and it is just tough to beat that one too. Those they're interchangeable. I found situations where either one will work better. Don't get me wrong. I still think the Senko is the best bait of all time, but that Max Scent has its time and place, and it can outfish a Senko. I've seen it happen, which is
Yeah,
crazy
it
to think
can.
a different Senko can outfish a Senko, because I don't think that a Yum Dinger can.
No, no. I've got a great story about a yum dinger. I've probably told in here before. Is a great friend of mine who passed away during COVID. We fished together in South Carolina. He lived down there. We were fishing one day. I was flipping the Senko around trees, wacky rig. He was throwing a yum dinger. He couldn't get bit at all. We were using the same line, same hook, same everything. He just couldn't get over it. He's like, why? And I said, because the yum dinger sucks. And he's like, what? I was like,
Well,
it's not very good.
I would like to interrupt the story to say that we now know Yum is never going to be a sponsor of our podcast.
Well, I don't want him.
But it's that salt content has to be there.
I told him I sink different. He's like, what? So he's like, wait a minute. I said, yeah. So you've never dropped them side by side? He's like, no. So I took both poles and put them side by side. We dropped them. The water was clear. Of course, Thinko flaps and does all kinds of stuff. And the dinger just
Dings.
dings, And he goes, oh, okay. And I said, well, here, try this. So he switched and started catching them. He's like, I would have never believed that. I was like, well, now you do.
I have another story about a Yum Dinger. We were fishing, seems like it was Stonewall. Kevin had rigged my pole up. There was a quote Cinco on it. I wasn't getting any bites, and I
Oh.
started investigating what was on my hook, and I
Yeah,
was
that was
like,
it was Carolina rigged, so I didn't
well,
think it would
okay,
matter
well,
because
I realized, I was like, "You put a fake Cinco on my pole. You're trying to keep me from catching fish." And I was like, "Show me what that is." And he showed me it was a yum dinger. I was furious because I also have something against yum.
yeah, she purchased Yum has started feeding frenzy or something on their bait packs, and she picks up these stupid crawl looking things, and it's like, I'm gonna start a feeding frenzy and all this stuff. Like those suck.
He
She's
made
like,
fun
no.
of me and told me they would
Yeah,
not catch a fish, and I
I said that's never gonna happen. And then she fished with it all day trying to make it happen, and it didn't. She's been mad ever since.
every time I see a yum bait, I remember that, and I'm like, feeding frenzy my foot.
Did not create a feeding frenzy.
Sorry, Yum. We're trying not to be controversial, but
So I'll give Yum a little bit of positive for a Yum dinger. If you do Carolina Cinco, you do sometimes want a slower fall because it lets the bait hang off the bottom a little bit longer. That's why people use mono on Carolina rigs, or some people use like a Z-Man Cinco, which really floats. So there's different ways to do that. I personally would throw a Cinco over a Yum dinger because I don't even own a Yum dinger because I don't like them that much.
I might have a pack for a Carolina rig here and there, but that's it.
If I Carolina rig something, it's going to be a lizard 99% of the time, or a big worm. Just kind of depends what I'm doing.
Yeah, Carolina rig. Summersville and Carolina rigs.
Goodness.
I guess they
Let's
go
not
together.
talk about that right now. We're talking about fun fishing. We're not talking about counting rocks.
yeah.
Yeah.
Someone told me count rocks, count rocks, count rocks. That's how slow you got to fish when you're dragging around at Summersville. I'm like, man,
Yeah.
if I fish at Summersville, I'll do it, but it's not like I enjoy it. My generation is not as patient. Now, I was taught by some excellent role models in fishing. You know, I've got a ton of different people throughout the state that have taught me new things. I actually won my first state championship on a Carolina rig for the TBF side of the youth fishing, and I won that first one on a Carolina rigged lizard at Sutton. Some history with it. Not everybody pins me and the younger generation as scopers, but I'm going to say I probably cashed 2 checks this year solely scoping. Most of it, I am an old school fisherman at heart. I learned the hard way at the Cup. I probably weighed in 2 or 3 fish on forward-facing sonar first day. All of them were caught scoping on the last day, but just a lot of techniques. Scope does not dominate in West Virginia. There's a lot of different techniques and a lot of different ways to catch them.
Yeah. Yeah, there really are. West Virginia's, you got to be diverse or you're probably going to get your butt kicked. One trick usually doesn't do it here.
You can't be a one-trick pony.
Yeah, except Julie would argue with me, I guess. On that.
I do all right.
You do.
I
You do.
fish
But
with,
you're not always one trick.
I fish with 3 things. That's it. Having 57 poles on the deck of your boat is just a good way for your wife to step on your fishing poles. And then you get mad about it. I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, hey, keeping it simple takes a lot of the guesswork out of it. You just go to
really
town
does.
with these 3 things. I mean, you've probably got some sort of Senko variation, whether it's on a jig head like a Ned rig. You've probably got a jig and then some sort of moving bait.
No, what do I have? I have a Cinco, a jig, and a Ned rig.
Usually.
That's it.
Yeah, usually that's it.
That's all I need. And
Yep.
I've hurt some feelings with those 3 things. I've gotten my butt kicked too. But bottom line, at a fishing tournament, 95% of the people there are getting their butt kicked.
Yeah.
You get all up in your feelings and you're very self-absorbed and thinking about yourself. But if you think about it, most everybody there got beat that day. There can only be one winner.
There can only be one winner.
Yep.
Everybody else just
didn't win. Fishing is humbling experience most of the time.
If you win every time, you don't learn anything. That's the kicker. That's the thing I always take away from it. I will never be too old to learn something. And every single tournament I get my butt handed to me, I take some sort of hindsight from that tournament, you know, talking to somebody that did better than me, or there's something that you could do differently to catch fish. And there's always a way to catch them better.
Yeah,
that's very true.
Yeah. A lot of it, the mindset though, you know, if you're on a winning streak, sometimes you show up at the ramp and 2 or 3 people go ahead and talk themselves into losing.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people talk themselves into losing a tournament before it ever starts. I never understood that.
Yeah, I'm not going to catch any fish today. Why would you speak that?
I always go out and think I'm going to smash them, and then
I'm horribly disappointed.
Yeah, but
sometimes I'm like, where are all these fish you said you were going to catch?
yeah, I'm up there with no bite in 6 hours, and she's like, yeah, I thought you were going to go and smash them today. And I say the day's not over.
He used to be really good at pulling some Hail Marys out at the end of the day. Last couple of years, he seems to have lost his knack for that. You need to get your groove back.
Yeah.
You need to
Maybe
get your groove back. I like that.
this is the year.
Oh, my season ended on a sour note after lacrosse. I was pretty up in my feels, so I've got a long winter to
Yes.
stew
Yes, you
on.
got
If you end
this
your
year's going to be her redemption tour.
if you end your year on a good note, you go into winter happy about bass fishing. But if you end it on a sour note, you've got all winter to lick your wounds.
Yeah.
Bounce some lures off the ice for a while. Right?
Yeah. I think of West Virginia's basketball team. Somebody's been calling them Next Virginia because it's always next year we're going to be good.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
been a tough few years.
I need to get an ice fisherman on here. You just talked about the ice.
I don't
Find
think
somebody
there's
that lives near Plum Orchard. They got 6 inches of ice down there.
Do they? I was going to say I
Yeah.
don't know that there's
I
a
saw-
bunch of ice fishermen in West Virginia.
Somebody was ice fishing on Gay Lake the other day.
I don't know. That worries me. In West Virginia.
Yeah. Somebody posted
Right
a
now it's
picture of
taking-
their deer blind
Yeah.
that they had out there to stay warm, and where they were
Huh.
like, "Oh, I don't know why these people have a deer blind out on the lake," and then everybody schooled them about why.
Yeah, ice fishing.
I've been ice fishing before up on Crystal Lake in Michigan. It's awesome. It's really cool. Like with an aqua view with a camera, you can look down there and see. But would I want to do that every day of the winter? Absolutely not.
I'm never
Yeah.
going ice fishing.
Julie doesn't want to.
I'm not doing that. It's cold.
It's not for everybody.
They have those campers now that they drive out on the ice and lower them down. They have the holes in the floors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those
It's
are
crazy.
awesome.
There's ice shacks or whatever they are. It's nuts what they do.
Don't care how thick somebody told me that ice was to get me to go out on it with a camper. No.
They do.
No. That's scary. Those people are brave.
I saw one the other day that might have been the coolest one I've ever seen. It was a minivan that someone had moved the rear seats and cut a hole in the bottom of the minivan and stuck a bucket through it. They could sit in the back of their minivan with a hole drilled through the floor on the ice and ice fish in their minivan.
There you go. See, that's cool.
That's some redneck engineering.
It is.
I know that they test the ice and they know it's thick enough and it's safe. That is terrifying to me.
Yeah,
It
I
is
don't know.
terrifying. Now, they say that the clearest ice is safest, but it's also the scariest because you can see through it.
It's wild.
I
They have all sorts of ice shacks and stuff up north. It's amazing. They really look forward to it. It's a big, big deal.
guess
It's
it
cool.
is.
Up there it is.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, they no.
It's cool everywhere
no pun
now.
intended, yeah.
We love our puns.
All right. Well, Lawson, anything else you got? You got sponsors? Anything you want to run through? Shout outs?
I would like to shout out all the sponsors of the team that have helped support our college fishing dream for the past year, and our returning sponsors. We have an awesome portfolio of companies around West Virginia that support us and help us make sure that we are able to fulfill our college dreams of fishing, and our anglers that support our trail. We really appreciate that. So I'll just go through the list and talk about some of them. We got Malone's Marine, which is your premier Phoenix dealer, and they're just the best dealership that I've ever. They're just fantastic. They have awesome customer service. Chris is an absolutely awesome guy, and they have A1 service. We also have Trend Services, high voltage electric system. Chris Fleming with them, he's a super big supporter of Marshall Fishing, and they also have the Logan Shrine tournament down at East Lynn. I believe that is March 28th. That is an awesome tournament. If anybody wants to come fish one, it helps a great cause, and there's a good payout. They give away a bunch of prizes. It's just a great company. Then we've got Brookshire Barrett and Associates, which is one of our oldest sponsors, my oldest sponsor, and they have supported our team for several years now. George and Mendy are great supports of our team. We got Prim Law, who's also a big support. Everybody knows who Prim Law is, who Brian Prim is. He supports all of our local stuff. He's just an awesome guy, and he's an avid fisherman, and we love the support from them. We've got Sonar Solutions, which is what I do in my free time. We help install electronics on bass boats here in West Virginia. We have Medcare Physical Therapy, which is Hurricane Cross Lanes, and they help with, physical therapy, and they're awesome. Dave Briscoe has been a sponsor, and we appreciate their support. We've got, Steel of West Virginia right near Marshall's campus, and Real Deal Outdoors, which is a bow shop down in Salt Rock. They also have fishing equipment. They've recently upped their game with that, and they're one of the premier bow shops in West Virginia. One of our personal favorites is the secret to Summersville BB jig. You know, Darren Elder has created an awesome jig, and it's cost effective because you go through a lot of them at our lakes. We've got big rocks that we lose a lot of lures in, but that's one of the best little baits in West Virginia that people know about. Anytime Fitness, if you're in the Taze Valley area or the surrounding areas, there's more than one. They are a great gym. They're a clean facility. We're happy to have their support. And then Britt Tire and Alignment. If you're in the Charleston area, you need some tires or just an alignment, stop by there, see them. They helped our team out tremendously over the past 2 seasons, and we really do appreciate that. We got McKinney Family Chiropractic, which I think is one of the most fitting sponsors for a fisherman. Now, you have a long day on the water, you are just beat down, and you're like, oh, my back hurts, I've been standing up all day. You know what you need to do? You need to call McKinney Family Chiropractic and schedule a appointment to get you a massage or get your back straightened out. Gabe McKinney can help get your back straightened out. I know he's helped me a few times. I might be young, but I definitely put myself through a lot of rigorous fishing experiences, whether that be just standing up all day or slipping and falling on my trolling motor or falling into my floor somehow, playing basketball, whatever. But we've got a ton of awesome sponsors that make it possible. And we really appreciate you letting us have the platform to come out here and talk about this and talk about fishing. I'm very passionate about our sport and our anglers, and I want to see it grow in West Virginia. And we appreciate the platform to do that.
Anytime. We're happy to do it. We look forward to talking with you more during the season, see how things are going with the Marshall Super Series and how things are going with the Marshall fishing team. We'll keep up with that and look forward to following along. Lawson, thanks for joining us, and we sure do appreciate the interview. We'll be in touch.
Good deal. I appreciate it. It had fun. I enjoy rambling about fishing.